Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what part of the world you're watching this from. My name is Amit Sodha, back again with the Business Spotlight series. This time, lucky enough to be joined by Peter Pearson, who's been running several businesses for over 8 years now. Welcome to the session, Peter. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Sun's shining, so
Sun is
that always
shining,
puts me in a good mood, regardless of how cold it is.
and we seem to be wearing matching jumpers as well, the color of the sun.
Yep,
So let's hope we can
yep,
bring some
I
sun
got
in
the
here as well.
memo.
To the audience, this wasn't
I did get the
pre-planned; it
memo.
was purely a coincidence. But been lucky enough to talk to Peter for the last few minutes, and there's some exciting things I think he can share with us. So over to you, Peter. Let's start off by you sharing with us what kind of businesses do you currently own, and how long have you been running them for?
I stepped into the world of business around 2013, 2014, starting a gymnastics club of my own. I found a gap in the market around 2018, 2019, and created a currently running UK gymnastics and acrobatics brand. And I'm now founding a SaaS platform which helps incentivize children stay longer in extracurricular activities.
Interesting. Several businesses all centered around the learning, education, and children's business area.
Yeah.
Peter, what motivated you to really enter this industry or this line of business?
I mean, it depends which which
Let's
line of
start with
business you're talking about.
Acrotrix and maybe tell us a bit more about what Acro. I've been on your website; it looks
Okay.
amazing. Tell us a bit more about Acrotrix and what motivated you to get into that business.
So I was running my gymnastics club at the time,
Hmm.
which was just, your kind of bog standard local gymnastics club. When I say bog standard, we were very successful. We had a
Mm.
large competition team, and we'd be around the globe competing. Um, and then I got into, I don't know if you know Silver Young Theatre School, teaching gymnastics there. And I saw a gap in the market for performing arts students and performing arts teachers learning a bit more about what they call acro, which is similar to floor gymnastics. And started running around the country creating these acro workshops for dancers and performing artists, which developed into teacher training programs and other things and accessories and apparel and equipment. So it kind of, yeah, what's the word? Kind of branched off from the original gap in the market of teaching dancers and performing artists how to effectively flip around.
Oh, okay, okay. And so, how did you yourself get into acrobats or gymnastics? How did you find yourself into that space? Is there not everyone is? I think you're the first person I'm talking to that ever in my life has
I
an
think I think I'm
acrobatist.
always the first person. Anytime anyone asks me to give it a networking event or anything. So what do you do? What business do you have? And I say I have an acrobatics brand. It just kind of creates this whirlwind of emotions in the receiver. It's quite funny.
Mm.
Um, but I was a very active young child. I was the one jumping off the sofas and everything. My mother put my brother and I into various
Any broken bones?
sports. I've broken bones. I've broken
Sorry,
bones.
yeah.
Yeah, you can ask. I've had some very interesting injuries. Anyway, um, so yeah, my brother took up karate. I took up gymnastics, and it's always been a thread in my life. I mean, I don't know if we'll get onto it, but I was in the corporate world for a while. But I was always teaching gymnastics in the evenings or weekends, even when I was in the corporate world doing crazy hours there. Um, so it's always been a thread, and I've not wanted to like detach from it, if that makes sense.
Interesting. You just want to keep rolling along with the corporates, pardon the pun of
Literally
rolling along.
rolling, literally roll.
Exactly,
I
rolling
like the
along.
fun.
Interesting point you mentioned there, Peter, that you used to work in the world of corporate, and it seems as if you made a switch from corporate to running your own business.
Hmm.
Huge jump. For many, it could be
Hmm.
risking a regular income to go into a situation where they're probably in their early years not having a regular income. Huge jump,
Yep.
huge risk. Peter, tell us what made you make that crazy choice? Or what
When
was
I
your
was
career
in
background before initially? But let's start off with your previous career. What was that in, if you mind sharing that?
So I used to work as a junior trader in a physical commodities firm. So we would trade steel and raw materials across the globe. Um, and yeah, I was junior trading, working out contracts and these kind of things within the firm. And my original idea, when you come out of university, if you do go to university, you come out of university, you think, right, I need to get a job and I would like to get a high paying job. And that's kind of where it's at. So that was my thought process, do the graduate rounds, et cetera, et cetera. So did that. Then it came to the 2009 kind of financial crisis. Our company kind of stayed put and didn't realize what was happening, to say the least. And then around about 2011, 12, the rounds of layoffs started to come about. And I had always thought I'd be in the corporate world for, I don't know, 30 years or so. And then with my thread of gymnastics in the background, and I would open up a gymnastics club when I was, I don't know, 60 years old or something. And just use the money to do that and just open up some super huge center. But I actually put my hand up for voluntary redundancy. I did some calculations and left with a severance package and decided, actually, I'm going to try it now because I can always go back into the corporate world if necessary. I have my CV, I have my qualifications, et cetera, et cetera. So that's when I made the jump. So you talk about it being risky, 100%. I would never have left. I would never have tried to do so if I didn't have that slight buffer, financial
Mm.
buffer. And that's what allowed me to buy equipment and things like that. It's you see all these Instagram cliches like be your own boss and all this kind of stuff, and a lot from Over the Bond. But and also something to note, I didn't just like I was still employed as well, so I was still working for. I decided to work for a North London independent school,
Okay.
was remunerated quite highly. And also, as I said, Sylvia Young did school as well. So I was actually employed in two different places as well as trying to start
Right.
the gymnastics club. So I had some form of, even though it was seasonal, steady income. So
Good.
I guess the point I'm trying to get across is that it was calculated risk.
Calculate
Um,
risk and it. Well, that shows you're a good trader. I mean, if anybody was, leaving their money with you, they probably saw that. Hey, look, this guy's not going to just chuck it all in one basket. You kind of
you know,
had things spread out,
yeah,
and you had your regular stream of income, well, as regular as possible, and then
hmm
you were kind of going to take a punt with the business as well. So,
correct.
on that note, Peter, what? And I've come across these people plenty of times, because I was one of them. But
hmm
what advice would you give to somebody that's looking to make the jump from their corporate day job, which probably they like and enjoy, but not what they love, to doing something they love? What advice would you give for somebody that wants to jump fence or jump ship?
Um, it's almost contradictory. Uh, Bit by bit, but also don't wait.
Mm.
So that's a bit of a juxtaposition, unfortunately. So I apologize to anybody that's thinking, what is he talking about? Um, in the sense of, incorporate the business, talk to people about it, and try and generate your first £10. Like quite literally try and generate your first £10, get that
Yeah.
first sale. If nobody wants to buy what you're offering, whether it's a service or a product, or a bit of both, then you need to maybe possibly think about pivoting. But for me, I my first £10, to call it, came from just creating a class, found a school, found a space, did some advertising on Facebook, got 9 kids in the class, had it revenue straight away. Um, so I was like, okay, so I can do this.
It's been a
Um,
confidence booster.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, only 9 kids in one class in a random school with very little equipment. Um, but we made it work. And I said, okay, so, I've got my first, as I said, in quotes, £10. So how do I then take that 10 and then make it 100? How do I make that 100 1,000? Okay, I know I can't do all this. Can I get someone else involved as well? So I say bit by bit and concentrate on getting that first sale. And then once you've got that first sale, you know that somebody wants it. Then you just got to figure out how many people want it for scaling reasons. And then you've got to decide whether it's going to be a lifestyle business that something works around with what you're doing, or something that you genuinely want to put your heart and soul into and just blow
Mm.
out of proportion, right? Um, And it just depends on you. But I would say my advice is bit by bit. But then if you've got the idea, at le- just start it now, because a quick no is so much better than a slow no.
Mm,
Because if you're waiting, and then you decide to start it in 2024 and it doesn't work out, you've waited a year to realize that it doesn't work out. So
very
it's
true.
kind of like just get on with it and then let someone say, no, I don't want this. And then at least at that point, you know for sure, okay, let me move on something else. So that would be my advice. Like just
Awesome.
now.
Bit by bit, but don't wait. And I think an intrinsic message in there is something about how much you value time.
Yeah.
So at the moment, you've got several businesses. You had in the past, you've got Acrotrix, you're also starting a new one up.
Mhm.
And we all know in business and in life, time is money, money is time. How do you go about managing and juggling these various responsibilities you have, Peter?
Don't do it alone.
Mm,
That's something that I've only recently, comparatively recently, figured out. In my first business, in my gymnastics club, I tried to do everything myself. Um, I was the gymnastics coach, I was the head coach, I was the admin, I was the content like creator, I was the videographer, I was the parent liaison, I was, I don't know, millions of hats,
all the
and
hats,
I
yeah.
didn't, and I thought, well, I can get people to like maybe help out a little bit, but I'm the guy, right? It's me.
Where did that come from?
Because
It's me. Was it because it was a financial scarcity thing, or was it an ego thing? I mean, what a lot of people
bit
I've
of
come
both,
across,
bit of
yeah.
both. I would say, yeah, probably 60 40 ego to financial. Financial is a big part because you need to be able to pay someone. But also one thing, the whole, what would you do if you went back 10 years, all that kind of stuff. I would realize, and I heard this somewhere else, that I would definitely employ people much earlier who were revenue driving.
Mm.
So, for example,